Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today's semi-final number 1 of my fountain pen tournament. The Battle of the Chinese Pens. So 3 Chinese pens that were picked by you from the heats. Going forward, which one will win and go forward into the final? Join me now, down on a table. We'll take a quick look at the pens, quick body walkthrough, size comparisons, weights and measures. We'll do a writing sample. I'll give you my brief thoughts, then hand it over to you to vote for the winning pen. Welcome down to the table. Here we've got the 3 pens that are in the semi-final of the Chinese pens. We've got the HongDian 1841, the Majohn P136, and the HongDian N7. 2 HongDian pens have made it through. Let's start by doing a walk through the bodies. So this isn't going to be a detailed walk through the bodies, more focusing on differences and similarities. First difference, shape. We've got this like torpedo shape here with the 1841 and the Majohn, but with the N7, that's more of a flat-ended pen. Looks, we've got more of a solid colour here, so we'll start with the 1841. Nice, like a burgundy red I would say there, with this nice gold accenting. With a P136, we've got this beautiful dark blue, and that's offset with this steel or silver coloured trim. And then with the N7, here we've got some more complex patterns. So on the cap, we've got this, what I believe is meant to be a peacock feather. Then up here we've got their peacock and HongDian. The bottom we've got a little picture of a peacock. So that goes all the way around. In the body, colour wise it's very similar to the base colour we're seeing here on the cap. So it's a very like tealy colour to me. And in there we've got this beautiful different like shading and chatoyance. So just look at the way that's reflecting the light. I do think they look quite nice. The HongDian 1841. This is a cartridge converter. So there's the cartridge, or should I say there's the converter. With the P136, this is a piston filling pen, and hopefully you can see if I can put my hand there. Not sure if it'll come over. Here we've got a whole series of little stripes which are transparent, so that acts as an ink window. To be honest, I struggle with it. I just find they're too thin for me to really see through. On the N7, this again is a piston filling pen, but this time, where we've got our ink window, this is more of a solid window. I'm just going to start agitating it a bit because in here I do have a chameleon ink. Size-wise, we'll look at that in a minute, but you can see the P136 by far the longest, the N7 by far the shortest. Taking the caps off, so we go half, 1, 1.5, 2. Just over 2 turns for the 1841. With the P136, half, 1, between 1.25 and 1.5 turns, so that's quite nice. And then finally the N7, half, 1. So 1 turn there, nice, quick, easy to take off. Let's take a little look at the nibs. So with the HongDian 1841, 2-tone nib, primarily a goldy colour with that steel border there. This is a steel nib. All the nibs today are steel nibs. Underneath the breather hole we've got 1997. We've got the HongDian logo. Then we've got some words. We've got HongDian. And right at the very bottom there, we've got F. This is a fine nib. With the Majohn, quite a plain looking nib here. So again, it's a steel nib. It's all steel coloured. We've got a decorative border. Then we've got a breather hole. We've got Moon Man. And again, down at the bottom, we've got F. It's a fine nib. And then with the N7, different nib, even though it's made by the same company. So again, it's two-tone, primarily a gold and with the top of it looking at that silver colour. I love the way that this looks. So we've got the breather hole, but underneath that we've got what I would describe as a pagoda. So really nice decorative. Then there at the bottom we've got the word HongDian. Let's swap on over and look at some size comparisons. I've brought in my two standards, so we've got the Pilot Metropolitan and the Lamy Safari. All three pens definitely shorter than the Safari. The 1841, a little bit shorter than I'm seeing with the Metropolitan. The P136, to me, it's about the same length as that Metropolitan. And the N7, again, just shorter than the Metropolitan. Width-wise, the 1841 looks very similar, but the other two, they do look a little bit wider than that Metropolitan, maybe heading towards the width and maybe even a little bit wider than what I'm seeing with the Safari. In the hand, the 1841 feels quite light. We'll look at that in a minute. It's a little bit thin feeling there in the section, not uncomfortably so, but just be aware of that. It will post. It posts not too bad. I find I can get away with this unposted though. With the P136, nicer feeling in the hand. Got a little bit more width to it, which I like. I like the wider sections. I hold my pens down at the bottom and I am finding my thumb is resting on the threads as well. Does this post? Not really. You know, I'm pushing that on quite hard and it comes straight off. So not a pen to post. But unposted, yeah, it's still quite nice. And then that N7. This is the heaviest feeling of the three. Wonder if that'll show out when we do our weights and measures. Again, it's got a nice wide section. The section doesn't really change in width. Again, we'll look at that shortly. There's nothing really at the bottom for me to rest my fingers on. It's nice in the hand though. Will this one post? Yep, that posts and seems to post quite nicely, but it does feel very back heavy. Unposted, still quite nice to use. Let's pop the caps on these. Here we go with the caps on. The P136 longer than all of them. The HongDian N7 and the 1841 to me look roughly the same length as that Metropolitan again. Let's swap over and fetch in the rule of measuring. Here we've got the rule of measuring. We'll start with the HongDian 1841. So with the cap on, we're looking about 13.8 centimetres. Unposted, 12.2, and then posted. Get that to sit still. Here we're coming in about 15.7. The width of the body at its widest, which was about here, is 1.2 centimetres. The cap, 1.4 centimetres. The section goes from 0.97 up to 1.06 centimetres. The Majohn P136. The full pen, 14.6 centimetres. Unposted, that comes in at 12.6 centimetres. We know it doesn't post. The width of the body, I measured it about here and that was 1.33 centimetres. The cap, 1.52 centimetres. The section, 1.1 going all the way up to 1.13. So hardly changing there in terms of the width of the section. You can just about see a little difference. Finally, that N7. So the full pen, 13.5 centimetres. Unposted, 12.3 centimetres. Posted, here we're looking at 15.7. The width of the body, the widest is about here. That's 1.34 centimetres. And the cap, 1.49 centimetres. The section going from 1.14 up to 1.21 centimetres. Let's move this out of the way and fetch in the scales of weigh-in. Here we've got the scales of weigh-in. We'll start with that 1841. Full pen, 24 grams. As I say, I think it feels quite light. Body alone, 15. And the cap, 9. With the Majohn P136, 26 grams there, so not that much lighter. The body, 17 grams, and the cap, 11 grams. And with the N7, 39 grams, noticeably heavier than the other two. The body, 25 grams, the body alone nearly the same weight as the full pens for the other two. And then the cap, 14 grams. Let's get this out of the way and fetch in the notepad of testing. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. For the semi-finals, I'm going to use a different notebook. This is a notebook and it's made by Apica and it's using paper from Japan. Lined paper. First time I'm using this in anger in one of my videos. So it'll be really interesting to see how this goes. We start with the HongDian 1841. I'm going to turn the page around slightly just to help with writing. So we've got here a HongDian 1841. It's got a fine nib. The price for this pen, you're looking approximately 43 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine and it's called Red Robin. Seeing loads of shading coming through with this already. Do our Wasky Squirrel grid. So we go up and down. Side to side. A grid. And the diagonals. Drying times. So there's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Then 1 minute. After a minute, smudging a little bit, but near enough dry. So in terms of drying times, I would say it's fairly medium there. Next up, we've got the Majohn P136. So here we go with this one. And this one is a fine nib. Price wise, we're looking about 37 Aussie dollars. The ink, Diamine, and it's Storm. Nice blue-black ink here. Goes well with a pen. Let's do our grid. So up and down. To me, this feels like it's taking more to fill the grid. But going across, you know, quite nice. Then we've got our grid there. And our diagonals. Drying times. There's immediate. Get a clean finger. 10 seconds. Look at that. Teeniest of smudges. For completeness, 30 seconds. Yeah, it's still smudging a teeny bit. That could be though from my finger. But, you know, it's dry at 30 seconds. So quite a nice fast drying combo there. Let's just move the page up ever so slightly with having it on the diagonal. Make sure I've got plenty of room to show you this pen. So next up is the N7. So a little bit of a hard start there. The nib on here is also a fine Three fine nibbed pens. Price wise, you're looking at approximately 45 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine, and it's a Garland. So this is a sheening and a shimmering ink. I wonder how well it'll perform on this paper. We'll have a look in a second. So here's our grid. So up and down. Side to side. Going with the grid and then with the diagonals. Drying times. So here's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Just going to go onto the line below. After a minute, yeah, that's nice and dry now. Let's just lift this up. Wow, this paper is performing really well. See loads of gorgeous red sheen coming off this. Oh, that is nice. Not seeing much in the grid though, not sure what's coming over on the camera, but where I was writing, wow, that is pretty. Not seeing any of the shimmer though, but I do struggle seeing the shimmer with this ink regardless of what pen that I use. What I'm going to do now is just move the page ever so slightly. Then I'm going to write a sentence with each of the pens. As I'm writing the sentence, I'll have the mic down near the page so that you can hear it writing. We're going to start with the 1841. So we appear to have a little bit of skipping going on there. Not enough to cause me an issue. If anything, it actually adds a little bit of character to the writing, but it is there. This paper does feel a little bit shiny, and I don't know if there's a coating on it. There might be. So that needs to be borne in mind. Beautiful shading though we're seeing coming from this. Next up, we've got that P136. That's very nice. There's a lot more feedback on it. With the 1841, it felt very smooth. And I think, as I say, because of the coating, that was contributing to the issues with the line. With this one, not noticing any skipping. Nice line, nice audible feedback, a beautiful tactile feel to it. So the final pen, I'm just agitating it a bit to see what we can do about that shimmer. This is the N7. This is another pen, nice feedback. Not as much as I was getting from the P136, but it's still there, it's still nice. This issue here with the B, I believe that was me. I felt it off when I was actually doing that line. So no real skipping. I say, if you excuse that, because I do feel it was my issue. Again, let's lift this up. Can we see any of that sheen? I know it hasn't had a long time to dry, but we can see some of that red sheen starting to come through already. So what are my thoughts on these pens? The pens we've looked at today, the HongDian 1841, the Majohn P136 and the HongDian N7. All three pens definitely deserve to be here in the semi-final. I like the weight of the N7. I know I can feel it in my hand. I like the extra length and the tactileness when I'm writing of the P136. But I also like the lightness, the portability. As a pen I can just chuck in a pocket if I want to. And yes, a bit too long for a pocket pen, but given that I wear cargo pants most of the time, perfect size for them. All three pens write really well. Yes, we had some skipping with the 1841, but nothing that is causing an issue. And as I say, I think it adds a little bit of character to my writing, I will be honest. Oh, that gorgeous feedback there with that. And also the nice feedback we have here with the N7. Very tough one for me to make a call on this week. So I'm handing it over to you now. Head on over to the YouTube community page. There you'll find a poll. Vote for the winning pen. The winner will be announced on Sunday next week on my YouTube Live. So what do you think about these pens? Which one do you want to win? Go on over to my YouTube community page. There you'll find the poll for this one for semi-final number 1, and I'll announce the winning pen on my live stream next week. What are your thoughts on these pens? Why not drop your comments down below? Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit that thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.